careful what you wish for because the picture this boys are back. Hey, hey, it's
Hey
Matt
guys,
here, and I am with, as always,
Dan the Movie Man.
Dan the Movie Man. So great to be back with you here today. It's been almost a year since our last review. Not sure if this is going to be a one-off or maybe the beginning of something new, but we saw a movie together, which doesn't happen too often. And we just had to talk about it. So, of course, the movie we're talking about today is Obsession. Like every other, I'm sure, podcaster and YouTuber, everyone's talking about this movie. It is making waves. Obsession, Dan, I mean, I don't know if we should just go into initial thoughts or if we should talk about the movie a little bit. Let's talk about initial thoughts and then we'll describe the movie in our actual review.
So, I think, and yeah, it's been forever since we've done this, so I apologize, being a little rusty. But coming off of watching the movie, I will say, um, opened up. I think I had pretty high expectations. I think generally the buzz on this movie is overwhelmingly positive. You're hearing that people absolutely love it. It's getting good ratings, good reviews. It's kind of interesting because the person that made this is like a YouTuber, like a sketch comedy artist, the director. Um, yeah, last name Barker. Can't remember his first name. And
Curry,
the
Curry
guy
Butter.
that's so the guy that's in it too is his best friend, Tom Tomlinson. The one that played was it Ian.
Cooper Tomlinson, yes.
I remember watching YouTube videos with those guys in them, and their stuff is generally like it's funny, it's comedy. They do have some borderline psychotic stuff from time to time, but overall, just when I read that, I was kind of blown away. Um, Initial thoughts, I think overall, it wasn't necessarily 100% what I was expecting, but I think it was pretty good, and we'll get into that a little bit deeper. But how about you, Matt? What do you think?
I had no expectations. Well, that's not true. I had expectations, but I knew nothing about the movie really. I saw one trailer months ago, and I don't even remember what movie I was watching where I saw the trailer, but I saw one trailer in the theater months ago, and I was like, oh, that looks like something I'd probably watch, and never saw another trailer about it and didn't even really remember it until it just was getting ready to be released, and I started seeing early reviews and from early screenings and everything that I was seeing was that it was fantastic and phenomenal, and I just didn't see a bad review. So I was like, okay, so this was already on my radar somewhat, and now I really have to go see it. And I did, and we did, and I gotta tell you, just initially, and you know, because you were there, I was so torn on how I felt about this movie because a part of me loved it. Another part of me thought, WTF, what did I just watch? It was, I wasn't prepared for, I guess, the silliness and the humor aspect of it. And I don't mean that in like a way that like some of those more comedic horror movies, like something like Ready or Not, or something, it's not quite on that level of silliness, but it's got a little bit of stuff where it's just kind of cheesy. And I'm like, is it supposed to be that way? And then the more I digested it, the more I was like, okay, this was a choice, and the more I could respect it for what it was. So,
Hmm. No,
obsession.
yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think sitting in the movie theater, like I know it's similar. I was sitting there, so you were kind of hearing my thoughts too. I think I started out very high, and then I started working my way backwards. But now that you say that, um, overall, it did have like some of the things you get out of maybe like Cabin in the Woods. Some of that making fun of itself,
Yeah.
which I think I've always enjoyed that in film. Something I don't like, and if I don't even know if our videos are even viewable anymore at this point,
They
but
will be by the time this gets posted.
Okay, so if anybody wants to check those out, if you're new to the channel, please. I mean, there's got to be a couple hundred videos of reviews and things, so you kind of get a taste for what we're into and what we like. But um, overall, just I get really bored with movies that are predictable. And if I come out of a movie and it was just, you're able to guess the next step, next step, next step, like I hate it, especially in horror films because horror films just have this they just are so they just stick right on the edge where they're just repeatable. It's almost like a rinse and repeat formulaic piece that happens. And here, I think we did get some of that, but it was mixed with enough, like you said, humor and things to keep it fresh overall. And I would take that probably from their sketch comedy. That's probably part of what brought that back. And like, there's one scene I really want to talk about toward the end. I know you and I talked about it a little bit, but I thought it was just funny because of how absurd it was. But otherwise, not too bad for a first foray. I think this is actually a second film. Um, I can't remember the first title. I really didn't do a lot of research on this one. Just kind of
Looks like
threw
he's
it.
got a lot of shorts, but this might be his first like theatrical full length.
But I guess we'll start into that, Matt. I know normally back in the day we used to talk about like favorite parts of the movie, or did we enjoy the characters? Did we enjoy the actors? What were some of the highlights for you? I know you said overall, generally you um were thinking about your process, how you're going to rate this. How did you come to be where you ended up? What pushed it up the edge for you?
So before I get there, let me just jump in real quick for those that might not know what this movie is. Let me just initiate them. Obsession is a new film currently playing in theaters, directed by Curry Baker. It is tells a tale of after breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. And it is starring Michael Johnston as Bear Bailey and Indy, I'm going to say Navarrete. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly, as Nikki Freeman. Let me just say right now, she deserves an Oscar. I don't, I know horror and Oscars aren't things that go hand in hand typically, sometimes, but not usually. But I mean, well, this past year, uh, uh, Aunt Gladys, actress from Weapons, won an
Mm.
Oscar. So I can't really say it
Which is a
doesn't
movie we
happen.
haven't talked about. And that's
Yes,
been one
right?
in between the last time we did
Right,
this, and so maybe we should stack the two up against each other and see where you felt on that. But
right. So horror and Oscars is a thing, and Nikki, sorry, she plays Nikki. Indy Navarrete, just give her the Oscar. I'm so excited to see what she does going forward in the future. I think she's going to be the breakout star, and that's not to take away from Michael Johnston or any of the other actors in this, but she was clearly the star. And then you asked me how I got to where I ended up on the movie. So I wanted something. It was creepy, it was dark, it was gory, and it was shot so well. And before we hit record, I joked, and I'm gonna say it again on camera. Uh, Dan's kind of pulling a freaky Nicky, if you get the reference, just because there were some shots where once Nikki goes full freaky, you just see her silhouette, or sometimes it's just dark, or sometimes you only see her eyes, and it was shot so well. And I don't say that a lot about a lot of movies, not as many as I probably should, being a quote unquote filmmaker, but I was very impressed with how it was shot, how it was edited. I thought it was all done very well for really a first film, first debut feature. Um, the it's a little bit of a slow burn. The movie's only 108 minutes, so just over an hour and a half. So that's right up my wheelhouse. It never felt too long or too short, but it did feel in the first like 25, 30 minutes did feel kind of like dragging and just a hair because it was building up to what was about to happen. And once it let loose, it all it all let loose. So as far as how I ended up to where I am, which I guess we'll talk about in a second, um, it was just really digesting what I had seen and appreciating the acting, appreciating the camera work and the director. And was it the best writing? No, but it was far from bad. And it was it was something that after sitting with it, I would definitely watch it again. At first, I wasn't sure because I really told Dan, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a 5-star movie or a 1-star movie because it really, when I first left, I was that torn. Like it really could have went either way. But the more I sat with it, the more I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to stick with me, and this is pretty impressive. How about you?
First off, for folks who haven't watched this before, we will go over our star rating at the end. We've called it many different things over the years, so I guess we'll just stick with star on this impromptu episode. But overall, I echo your sentiment regarding the actress who played Nikki. I think she did a phenomenal job. There's scenes, you know what, spoilers, whatever, where he leaves her for hours and she's like standing at the door just waiting and she contorts her face in a way it's very like unnerving, very like uncanny valley-esque. It definitely like puts you on edge. I agree with the cinematography. I think the use of lighting was in this was phenomenal. Definitely call the edge of like the creepy vibe. And there were movements like how they portrayed her like moving backwards in one point and how she was almost robotic or something that you'd see out of like The Conjuring or like
Yeah,
Insidious or something of that
she
nature.
was almost possessed. But
Yes,
but it but it was not really a possession film.
correct.
But it was very reminiscent
Well,
of like a possession.
let's talk about that too,
Yeah.
right? Like she wasn't possessed, but essentially like
She wasn't
her
possessed in the demonic possession. Well, we don't really know because
something was
it doesn't
because
explain,
because
right?
her she was displaced. Like he calls in, he makes a wish on this little snappy willow stick, whatever, and then it's like he wishes it's an innocent wish, right? Like I wish she loved me more than anything. And she becomes absolutely obsessed. And there we get the title of the movie, very, off the hat. But overall, like there's a point where he calls in and he's like, uh, or the guy on the other end of the phone is like, "Do you want to talk to Nikki?" And she's like screaming, like
Yeah.
like almost like she's being tortured or like. And to be fair, you know, the one thing this movie does really really well, and I've started to respect movies for this, is that it makes you feel sorry for the wrong character. And in this case, like for us, like you're watching most of this movie through the perspective of Bear, right? And it starts innocent, he has a crush, he makes a wish. But when it gets to the point where his wish comes true and she starts acting like crazy and like possessed and like freaking feeding him his own damn cat and stuff. Like,
Ugh.
yeah, that was crazy, right? And then it's just like you're like, oh, he's like this isn't what he wanted, but I mean, essentially, Nikki has like she's been displaced. Her mind is somewhere else, and I mean, she's getting used and abused and all other kinds of things. And I think that for the viewer watching, like, yeah, you might be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to root for Bear. Very hard to do. Bear's a crappy person. I mean, you get to the end of the movie, he's a crappy person. He really deserves everything he gets, and I don't know. But I'm gonna
And
kick
that
it
and
back
that and
over
that's
to
a
you.
testament to his act to what I say, Johnston,
Yes,
Michael Johnston's acting because I mean, he could have played it differently, and I didn't dislike him, but like he definitely, as a character, as an actor, I thought he was actually very good. I enjoyed it, but as a character, he wasn't a great person. In fact, if I saw an interview with him and someone talked about this, and they asked him like, so do you think that if Bear could redo it over again, would he just word it differently, or would he just not do it? And Michael Johnston said, well, he thought that Bear would just word it differently and still do it
I
because
agree. I
Yeah,
agree with that. It definitely seems on brand for that character, and it's terrible.
yeah, yeah. Whereas if you saw everything that happened in this movie, there is no way you would ever want to break one of those one wish sticks.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some questions I had regarding like the shop owner, and I started thinking about this after the fact. And this is going to be a weird question because I'm just addressing you, and I haven't looked it up online or anything. But when we had the like the female shopkeep in the beginning, and then the male shopkeep at
Yeah.
the end, do we think that was the same person?
I don't know. I did wonder where the female went because she had seemed so like not important to the story, but like pretty memorable, right?
Well,
So
it's
like,
like they both had the same kind of cavalier attitude towards him, and it could have been two entirely different employees, and they both like had their own wish. I was just wondering, like, I wonder if it was the same person, is because at the end, the guy, in the shop, again, spoilers, like, hey, my wish came true. Like, what was your wish? I was like, I wish he'd be obsessed with me. It's like, oh, that's not so bad, but I don't know, just kind of one of those
that's an
things that
interesting
you kind of
perspective. Like, I wonder if they were meant to be the same person.
because you did mention this, and I thought it was a good point. Like they could essentially take this movie and do a whole universe
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
Wishing Willows. So
Yes, absolutely. A whole Wish universe, which I'm not clamoring for. I don't want because I'm not a fan of really as a general rule. Like there's a lot of sequels I like, but I'm generally not like I don't think most things need a sequel. Definitely not a universe. But in today's world, I can absolutely see we get a movie about oh, I wish to be pretty. Oh, I wish to be thinner. Oh, I wish to be not, I mean, I was going to say not ugly, but that's the same thing as pretty. You could do any number. I wish to be a change from man to woman. Or vice versa. There's so many different things you could do with that concept that you could just do these movies for ever.
it's almost like, and I don't know if you remember them, and maybe I'm misremembering, but like a whole bunch of movies about like jinn or genies like granting wishes, and I feel
Yeah.
like it was horror movies like mostly, and like things would go wrong, and just because of what they asked or how they asked it, like they're notorious for switching things up, and definitely kind of like that same vibe or mythos, but just wonder if it worked out for some. Well, it did work out for some,
Yeah.
obviously. Unfortunately, not for the long term.
I
For
guess you just got to be extremely careful. Well, the tagline is "Be careful what you wish for." I guess you just got to be extremely careful in how you word your wish, because he could have very easily said, "I wish Nikki had a crush on me," and that might have been okay. Like if he'd worded it like that, but instead he specifically says, "I wish Nikki Freeman would love me more than anyone else in the
well,
entire
at
world."
at that point, like he didn't believe that it was going to come true. It was more
Right.
like a throwaway. Like okay, and
Right.
at that point, yeah, it could be considered innocent. It's just unfortunately, like every
Oh
decision
yeah,
he
no,
made.
I think he went into it, A, not knowing it was real, and B, he wasn't trying to be a quote unquote crappy character.
Mhm.
I think that's just who he becomes as it continues to happen. Like
That was
he
funny to me is like all this is going on with her, and then initially before Nikki changed, she's like, "Oh, like basically leading to the fact that Sarah has a crush on him, and we see her character, coming back later, and they're sitting in the car together." I almost
this
thought
is
this
my
was
favorite scene. Let's spoil
oh,
it.
oh my god. It was so to me though, it was so self-serving because he's in there and she's basically talking about, "Hey, you need somebody who's more chill, more relaxed." And then he's like looking at Sarah and he's like, "Is that you?" And then she doesn't say it but kind of plays up to that fact and then wants him to open her college letter. But it's your favorite scene, so I'm not going to steal it. I want you to portray it like how someone who liked the scene went. So you go.
Yeah, I know you kind of said you weren't crazy over the scene, and there was one thing that we talked about that I would do differently. But yeah, they're sitting in the car and they're talking, him and his coworker slash good friend Sarah, and they're talking about Nikki and they're talking about her getting into college, this tattoo college or something that she maybe is an art college, some sort. She wants to be a tattooist, right? Because he jokes a couple times about letting her tattoo him, and they have this deep conversation, and it's really one of the only scenes that they have together. They're really not in a lot of scenes together for people that are quote unquote friends. There might be like one or two scenes at the shop that they work at or something, and that's really it. But you know something bad's going to happen. You leaned over to me in the theater and told me that something bad was going to happen, but you waited for it and you waited for it and you waited for it, and the scene kept going. And that's why I liked it. Because it wasn't just instant like, oh yeah, Nikki's crazy. Oh, you're getting into college. Oh, here's my college letter. Blah, blah. And then boom. It was like this real conversation, really got to see the characters and their relationship and who they are as friends. And then just as you're starting to kind of like their friendship and be like, huh, if he gets out of this, maybe he could end up with her. Nope. Spoilers. Nikki comes literally head
That's
first through the car window and then, with brick in hand, starts smashing Sarah's face into the brick. Oh my gosh. I was just like, if you had seen my face, if anyone had been recording my face during that scene, I'm sure it was like, I was just stunned. And I knew, like we said, I knew she was going to die. We knew it was going to happen. But I wasn't expecting that to that brutality. And I wasn't expecting, because it just kept going. Like, maybe she's not going to die. Maybe, because the scene just kept going. And it wasn't like, it was probably realistically like 3 minutes. It wasn't a 5 to 10 minute conversation, but it was longer than I expected. And I just really, it was definitely, I think, one of the most brutal scenes in the film. And the brick, man, caught me off guard. I was not
for
expecting.
sure.
Like, I thought she was smashing her head. At first, I thought she was smashing her head into the steering wheel, which is bad enough. But no, after like the second smash, you kind of, your eyes focus and you're like, oh, it's a brick. Oh, shoot. It's, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's very visceral. I mean, they did a good job. The effects actually looked really good in this movie. I thought that they did a very good job. And On that note, I guess we're talking about favorite scenes. So my favorite scene in this this film was what with Tom Tomlinson that played. Is it Ian? Was Ian the
Ian,
friend's name?
yes, Ian.
It's Ian. So Ian. So anyways, Bear's over and he's like begging Ian. He's like, man, you gotta like do this wish. Like he picked up all these extra
Yes. Oh
sticks because he
my
can't break them anymore. He's like,
gosh.
please, like just wish that I didn't make my wish or whatever. And then Ian's like fed up with him. He's like thinking that he's delusional, which I will call out the fact that he seems sane because he's like something's obviously wrong with Nikki, and it's seeming like you're taking advantage of her, which he absolutely was.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going, but literally, he's like fed up with him. He's just tired of dealing with it, and he's just like, I wish for $1 billion. Breaks a stick, and like billions of dollars start falling from the ceiling. He's just like, huh?
So
And
bizarre.
then Bear's like, whatever you do, don't come into my apartment. I got to deal with blah blah blah. So he goes in, and of course, this dude goes over to his freaking apartment, is knocking on the door. Like he's told him everything that's going on. $1 billion just fell from the ceiling. You would think he would have some like survival
Not even from
instinct
the sky, from his ceiling
from his ceiling.
indoors.
You think he had some survival instinct, but nah, man. He just goes there. He opens the door, bam, shot in the head, dead. So I guess there's still $1 billion laying in that apartment. So if Nikki, for everything she went through, I guess if she goes over there, she can get
Yeah.
a payday at least. But she
Nikki's
deserves a
going to
lot more
jail.
than that.
I
Oh, you
mean,
think?
I
Well,
mean, how does she
maybe.
not?
I mean, you could at that point probably pin it all on Bear. Like you could,
You
it
could. You
looks
could probably,
crazy
yeah, he would
enough.
probably take the fall. If you wanted to do a sequel with that character, which I don't know why you would ever, but
No,
you could you could easily say that it was pinned on Bear and Bear killed everybody. That would be, and then Nikki like discovered it or something. Like I guess there is a way out of it, but I feel like at the same time, like Nikki's handprints are on the gun. Nikki fired the gun. There's a lot of DNA and evidence pointing to Nikki. So if she got out of that without going to jail, she'd be very lucky.
I mean, if there were any more of those willow branches around, she could technically have somebody else break it. And she's like, hey, just do me a favor. I know this is stupid. Just break this and be like, I wish that none of that stuff happened before or something like, and undo it and
That
like
would be
rewind it back to the front. You play through the story again, but like with different cast or
that would
characters.
be
Like Bear then
interesting.
walks out and then does something else. I don't know. Food
That
for
would be
thought if
interesting.
you're watching this, guys.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a whole ton of ideas you could do for sequels and spin-offs, and you really could do a whole universe based on this idea, which is not something that,
Not that they should.
not that they should, but it's a solid idea that you could, because they've
Yeah.
done universes built off of less.
Well, even if it wasn't necessarily the Willow Sticks, but the company that made them, like
Hmm.
maybe they're Magic and I know YouTube people, SCP stuff out there that are interested in that kind of stuff. I know we have Backrooms that are coming out too, so maybe something, connected there. But you know Backrooms, Matt?
What was that?
Okay, so you have homework, and for our people watching this, if they know what backrooms are, awesome because you don't live under a rock. Matt apparently does. Backrooms are like this YouTube thing, like where people will go through or touch like certain parts of a wall or go through like certain doors and enter a liminal space that's like not reality, but not reality. And there's a movie coming out this month called Backrooms directed by the guy that made this, that made the back rooms. So they're going to come out with this, and there's a whole bunch of a cast of awesome top tier actors that are going to be in this. So the fact that you don't know about this is making me crazy. Yeah, you need to do some homework.
Is there a trailer?
Yeah, yeah. There's a trailer. I know we can't probably screen watch it here, but yeah, definitely watch the trailer. I think you'd enjoy it. And Kayla's behind me saying the same thing. Lady in the dark, creepy space back here. The liminal space.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it pulled up on my letterbox. I will add that to my watch list so I don't forget.
Maybe that's the next one we could watch.
Yeah.
But
It's coming
overall,
out this month?
yes.
Oh my.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually been advertised quite a bit. So I don't know
I'm
what you're doing with your life.
I'm not watching the trailer for Backrooms.
Well,
That's what I have
get
been
get
doing.
onto that. But it's a similar thing. So like it's this generation. It's
Okay.
stuff that's coming out of this generation. So it's really exciting to see, where we're taking it.
One more thing I want to talk about before we probably wrap up and go into ratings, because actually Zoom's yelling at me that we're going to run out of time.
Woo.
Um, I think there's an interesting there's an interesting relation to recent horror movies being directed by comedic people with comedic backgrounds. Like I didn't know that what was it, Curry Barker?
Barker, yeah,
Uh,
or Baker Barker.
Barker was came from a comedic background. Like I didn't know that until you said it on this episode 40 minutes ago. So that's very interesting to me because I mean we have like Jordan Peele and we have obviously Curry Barker and I'm sure there's who else?
Well,
There's
Jim
well,
Carrey's done that before too.
yeah, it's just interesting that like the new horror directors a lot and that are like making a name. Oh, Zach Kreger came from
Mm-hmm.
comedy who did Weapons. There's there's a lot of comedic people with comedic backgrounds getting into horror, which is fun and exciting, especially because they're doing it well. Like these are the
Mm-hmm.
movies we're talking about, like the Jordan Peels and the Zach Kreger Weapons,
And
and
it's
now
not the same tired
yeah, it's
stories over
completely
and
different.
over.
But you can tell like they love the genre. It's not just like, oh, we're making it for a cash grab because everyone horror, it's the most easiest genre to make money in. But like because you can make it dirt cheap and get a profit, right? But
Scream.
yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because like I'm interested to see if that trend continues with others or just with the ones that we have, if they continue to go down the horror route. I know Zach Kreger's doing Resident Evil next, and I saw the trailer for that, and I'm not a fan of the video games or other movies, but I want to see that.
I want to see
Uh,
that too.
just based on what he did with weapons, I want to see it. Plus, the trailer looks pretty sweet. So, um, Dan, we want to wrap this up and give it a rating?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll go first. Uh, I landed on 4 stars with this out of 5. I've debated 4.5, but I felt that was just too high considering I was really mixed about it in the beginning. I might on a rewatch bump it up a little bit, but 4 stars for me. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a blast overall. It definitely is divisive if you don't really know what you're getting into when you watch it at first. Like I said, I watched one trailer and knew nothing else. I didn't research it. I didn't see who was in it. I didn't read a synopsis. I didn't do anything. I watched one little short, like basically teaser trailer and went into it. So I was like, what did I just watch? So it really kind of divided me. But then the more I sat with it, the more I really loved what I saw overall. There's gripes with it, the writing, some of the scenes, a little bit of things here and there, but overall, 4 stars.
A lot of the same sentiments of Matt. I'm going to put mine at 3.5 out of 5 stars. Overall, I enjoyed it. I told Matt this. I was like, hey, man, I enjoyed it a lot more than I didn't enjoy it. Just kind of put me over the edge there. I think the acting was really well done. I think the lead actress did a phenomenal job. Granted, some of the material a little problematic. Again, making you root for the wrong person, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that gets in your head and gets you thinking. But otherwise, I think camera angles were great, cinematics were perfect. I think that this director specifically has a, I mean, this is a start, obviously, of their career. They have a, a long
They
way to
gave
go.
him Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did you see that? He's going to do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot
I mean, I think that
based on this. Like before, it was just released, or maybe it hadn't even been released yet, and they announced that he's going to reboot Texas Chainsaw.
honestly, the power to him. I think that considering how the original Texas Chainsaw Massacres were, and even some of the like the new gen stuff, I think he could probably do a good job with it. Put a fresh take on it, maybe bring Leatherface to the forefront in a new way for a new generation. So instead of the same dead things, but no, overall, okay movie. I think definitely a little bit of want there between a movie like Weapons and here, which is why it doesn't have the top rating, but. Um, Overall, good entry.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for checking us out. If you've made it this far, give us a follow. Give us a follow. Is that how you say it? I haven't done this in so long. How do I
Click
sign out?
subscribe,
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 follow,
like,
like
comment,
MySpace, all that stuff.
or whatever.
Yeah. Give us a follow, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of the movie, and then Dan, hopefully we'll be back and do this again sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. It's done. It's in the book.
Make a wish.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll make the wish. We'll make the wish. Let us know if you want to see us back with more reviews. Maybe we'll go off of that. Until next time, everybody have a great week. And as always, love one another.
See you guys.